Alright, welcome back to the channel. I don't know if some of you are following me because of this specific project. If you have, you haven't had anything come out of me in probably a year or something because I haven't got shit done. Because this is like a side project and I got work to do. So, 292 straight 6. I'm going to start to assemble a little bit of it tonight. So I've got a video on block prep. I don't know how much other videos I have. I know I've got a video on cylinder head work that I'm experimenting with. So that's going to be a whole separate ordeal. I've got a lot to assemble the short block. So let's see where to start. So block has been zero decked. I think it's 40 over. We'll see when we look at the pistons. I've knocked off all of the edges, honed out the lifter bores, machined these down so the roller rockers fit. It's been line honed. The caps have been staked into place. So they're tight this way, so we staked everything. Everything's cleaned. Like I said, I knocked off all the casting flash. And that was about it on this. Everything's been cleaned up. So, crankshaft is whatever it is. It's what came out of it. So this block is Heco in Mexico, 1980s. So the crank that came with it, machined and polished and balanced, so nothing major on that. We're doing ARP main cap bolts. I've got the rods, ARP bolts here. Everything's machined, balanced. Put a hole in the top, and they don't have bushings in them. So this is one I didn't know, but these are made to be full floating. I was told that was a bad idea. It's a full float, steel against steel, but I'll show you what I did to hopefully fix that situation. Okay, let's see. We've got the roller lifters with link bars on them. Everything's set up, ready for those. We have don't quote me on this because it's been so long. Like I said, I haven't touched this engine in like a year or something, but stage 3 hydraulic roller billet camshaft. We have Ross forged pistons, 18cc dished. It's been zero deck to these. Everything has been weighed and weight matched. So these were the wrist pins that came with the pistons, and I sent them off and got them DLC coated. Supposedly this will help to keep them from golding. We'll see how that all goes. ATI fluid damper. We got Tom Lowe's front cover. Adjustable timing set with the aluminum gear. I just had a text message come through on that. So Cloy's aluminum gears in the oil field have been known to blow up. They're telling me that this is a good gear. I'm going to use this gear. New pickup screen, King bearings. Don't know the size over, but so we got cam bearings, rod bearings, main bearings, total seal rings, the deep freeze plug set, M62 oil pump. I don't know if that's high volume or not. Doesn't really matter. So these are the parts that we're going to put in tonight. So I'm installing everything with the Molly assembly lube. I don't know what this EP, I don't know what the hell it is, but anyways, that's what I'm using for assembly lube. And those are all the parts, I think. So This engine is going to be turbocharged, fuel injected, high compression. Yeah, computer controlled 4L80E. It's in a 1970. I'll show you the truck if I can. 1970 GMC 1-ton. I've got some video, or not 1-ton, sorry, 3/4 ton 4x4 pickup. So I've got a video on that we are doing a 350 Chevy, which is what's in it now. It's like a 93 Corvette tune port injection motor. But I took all the tune port injection off of it because I didn't want to deal with it. So it's getting a Holley 750 or something like that. And we're putting it together just to try it. Run some numbers, look at the horsepower, look at 0 to 60, fuel mileage, all that stuff. And then we're going to swap to the 292 and we're going to run them against each other, see how this 292 does. It's an unfair race in the fact that the 292 has a shit ton of money put into it. But the 350 we already had, we're just going to run it, and that way it's running. We can sell it while it's in the truck and try it out. So I've got fuel injection for it. I'm not going to use it. It's going to get just a tranny controller and a carburetor. But that's not the point of this video. Probably not going to assemble a lot of this on video. I'm going to maybe go through a little bit of points, check out the previous videos until I figure out how to put a list together on the channel. You'll have to kind of go back and look or just type in 292 stuff on my channel. Oh, one more piece here. I've got the ARP piston ring compressor, 3-inch 900, and I had to hone it out a little bit on the rod hone because this is, I don't know what the factory size for a 292 was. I think it was 3-inch 850 or something like that. So, anyways, had to hone that out. Hopefully that works out. I've been using these ARP ring compressors. They work amazing. So I'm going to get short block together and check everything out here and then bag it. This is mainly to get the parts off the shelf. I've got several 6-cylinder builds going. All, pretty unique stuff. I've got a 66 Ford Mustang road and track car that I'm building. So follow along. Hopefully I'm going to get to some of this stuff this winter. Summer's my busy season. I'm starting to get a little bit of time, but cylinder head and all that stuff is going to be a totally separate video because we're doing a lot of crazy one-off stuff on that side. Not as crazy as some people get, but for what it is, for my budget and for being a 6-cylinder, because not many people go too far with those, we're getting pretty crazy. Anyways, so I just got off work. It is Saturday night. I'm gonna start to assemble a little bit of this. I don't like to videotape and distract myself while I assemble things, and nobody really cares about people's processes. Really, all they do is nitpick them or bitch about them or whatever like that. So I'm going to see if I can get some of this stuff assembled tonight and maybe tomorrow on Sunday. And I'll give you a little bit of updates on the way. Let's see how this goes. So here's the consistency of the Schaefer's Molly. See if I can do this. So it's definitely not like an oil or anything. It's very syrupy. It's got some tackiness to it, so it's a good assembly lube. Should be fine. Plus roller cam. Here's where we finished up tonight. So let's see where to begin. So we got all but one piston in. I checked the height. So my machinist, I told him that 12 bolt said you buy these pistons and it allows you to deck it around 15 thousandths to bring it to a zero deck. And so he just decked it and then never discussed me. So I needed it bored and honed. And then I was going to come over here and write the measurements and take it back to get decked. But I'm going to leave it where it's at. So he took 15 thousandths off without taking any measurements, which wound up pretty good. So I put a straight edge under here and a feeler gauge, and we've got about 7 thousandths on both sides. So it is level. The reason he did that is because his boring bar bores and decks all in one setup, I guess, one process. So we've got about 7 thousandths from the top of the piston to the deck, which isn't bad. Like I said, I'm happy with that. I'm a little worried. I still don't know compression yet, so we're going to check that. So got my lifters in. Those are looking good. If I just temporary bolted on the side covers, just to keep those from falling out when I rotate it over, which reminds me I need to do that before I rotate it over. Just got front cover off. I haven't tested anything with I haven't degreed in the cam. So this is your 0 degree advanced on the cam. I'm going to degree it, see where we wind up with there. Let me flip it over and we'll go over a few things on that side. So anyways, it's looking pretty good. All right, so one thing on the pistons, on the rings, I ended up going 23 thousandths gap is what I came up with because I'm going to be boosted. So I had the writing up top, but that's trying to think of what that is. I had it up top, but it's 3-inch 900 something bore. So I can't remember what I went off of, but I think I did 6 thousandths ring gap per inch of bore for top and second groove. I pretty much made those the same. The oil control rings were already over that gap, and I'm not super worried about them. So I did 70 pounds on the ARP rod bolts. Hopefully that setup doesn't affect that torque, but I did go a little bit higher on these. I'll tell you why. So I did the stretch gauge on the rod bolts. So ARP says either 45 pounds or 5.5 to 6 thousandths stretch. So I set up my stretch gauge on 0. So set it up on 0, made sure it was repeatable, only did one at a time. And I torqued it down to 45, and these only went to about 4 thousandths. So cranked them a little bit more, got 0.5 thousandths, another 0.5 thousandths. And then I realized that, so then I went up to 60 foot-pounds of torque. And at 60 foot-pounds, I was getting about 5.5 thousandths, which is kind of crazy. So I haven't done that process before, but I was experimenting with it. So even though they say 45 foot-pounds to get the proper stretch, I was about 60 foot-pounds to get 5.5 thousandths of bolt stretch. So I went with the stretch method. Camshaft was a little bit of a bitch to put in. I asked a few people online. They pretty much all said that the aluminum gear back over there is fine. So that's what I ended up running. Everything is clearanced, but it is it's tight in there. So no fuel pump lobe on this camshaft. This is a stage 3 hydraulic roller or whatever from 12 bolt. They probably tell you that there's no lobe for that. Doesn't matter, I'm running fuel injection, but careful if you're not running fuel injection and you want to run a mechanical pump. Guess it's not a big deal, but what else? All my clearances are good. I checked everything, pretty much got everything where I want it. That's up to you where you think you want your clearances. Everything went together pretty good. I gotta get a bolt for the front of the cam gear. I'm gonna bolt it on, make sure I've got clearance here. I was test fitting some other parts. I was planning on going serpentine belt system with this, so this damper, I don't know actually the part number is gonna be on the box. Let's see if we can get you a part number. I think it was just like a 350 Chevy damper or something. Anyways, it had to be honed out to get the proper amount of press. It was too tight. So I can't remember. It's been a while. I took a few thousandths out of it on the rod hone. And then I found this pulley. I'm sure it's going to stick out too far. And I've got one for the water pump. I would like to see if I can get one closer to here, but I couldn't, like a year or two ago when I was looking for these things, I couldn't find them. So my plan was just to machine off all of this. That's not a big deal. But I would like to see what it would take to get closer here. That way everything's kind of hugging the block. But I'm going to see how all that works out. That's about it. So, melling oil pump, or oil pump pickup. This is a standard. They say don't use a high volume oil pump. I guess it's hard on the distributor gears. So that's about it for that. I'm going to end this video. It's going to be a little while before I get back to this thing. I'm going to put the oil pan on it, clean it up, get it painted, do a little bit here and there. Nothing special, nothing worth taping. The next video will be cylinder head stuff. I've got a little bit of a video prepping this thing. I have a shit ton more work to do on this. That's where all the magic is happening on this engine, is cylinder head, intake, exhaust, all of that. So stay tuned, like and subscribe for that guy if you want to see that happen. And then I'm going to try to figure out how to build the serpentine belt system for this. You want a sneak peek at another project I've got going here. I should just leave that like that, huh? So Ford 200 straight six. Should I give it away? Some of you already know. Triple DCOEs. Son of a bitch. That manifold's a little heavy. Anyways, it's really close, man. So I've got my two holes right there. I can pretty much put that on right there. And then I just got to figure out how to bring those other ones down. I want to get that as close as possible, but that is going to be freaking tricky. Very, very tricky. But you're Chevy, guys. You don't care. That's going to be a fun project. And then, speaking of Ford stuff, so that is a 390 build. It's going to be kind of a normal build in this world. I mean, compared to the other stuff that I'm doing. So, don't know how much of that I'm going to video. We'll see how far I end up going with that. For those of you, I'll give you a sneak peek. So just in case you haven't seen, check out my last videos. I'll give you a quick rundown of what we're doing here. Look at all the goodie. Ooh, the triple Webers. What's up here? What's up here that you care about? So, Holley Terminator X. We've got all the MSD. We've got a turbo exhaust manifold. We got a Aussie speed intake. Lots of frickin' parts. That's all you get to see. I'm gonna shut off my office light. I gotta come clean up here because it got out of control. That was a lot of the point, is to try to get some of these parts off the shelf. So if you're interested in the rest of this build, follow along. The Ford 200, I'll have It's right behind this one. I want to get it done this winter so I can have it for next summer. 66 Ford Mustang 2+2 road and track car. Yeah. And I've got 4 other engines that's getting built. Not quite yet though. We got to get some of this stuff done first. Anyways. Like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next video. I am going to bed and I got to figure out parts tomorrow.